Alright, what is going on, guys? It is XLT bringing you a brand new video on my channel, and today we're going to be talking about what happened in the college football world on week 1. Basically, I watched as many games as I could. I picked out some storylines, some games, some players that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and hopefully I can do this for every week of the college football season. I really do like college football. I like it more than the NFL. To me, there's just more of an entertainment factor. There's a little bit more development. You can see players improve throughout the season, and they're young men, and they really get to, come into their own as players and as individuals, as people, not just on the football field. So with that being said, let's jump right into week 1. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is Will Grier, the quarterback from West Virginia. He really impressed me this weekend, and he impressed a lot of people against a good SEC defense in Tennessee. There's no slouches in the SEC. I mean, there's a couple like Vanderbilt and Kentucky, but SEC for the most part, in my opinion, I consider it to be the best conference of college football, and Tennessee's been a pretty good team in that conference for a while. West Virginia obviously played them last weekend, and Will Grier put on an absolute clinic, passing for his career high passing yards with 429, and he put up 5 touchdowns. To me, he looked like the nation's top quarterback, and that's what he looked like to a lot of people. There's pretty much a consensual top 3 quarterbacks for this class in terms of where they are and stuff like that, and a lot of people say that it's Will Grier, Justin Herbert from Oregon, and Drew Lock from Mizzou. A lot of people have Lock at 1, a lot of people have Herbert at 1, and a lot of people have Grier at 1, but I feel like those people who do the lists throughout the seasons or their ranking week by week and stuff like that, to me, Will Grier looks like the top quarterback in the nation. I know he runs like in a conference where it's spread them out offense, air them out, see how many points you can score, and don't play defense, just see how many points you can score in a game. And he kind of plays in that air raid offense, not necessarily air raid like Tech or anything like that, but he does put up a lot of good numbers, and to me, he looked like the nation's top quarterback against a good SEC defense. Alright, now the second thing I want to talk to you guys about is also quarterback related. It's the Alabama quarterback controversy, something that's been going on since the national championship game, since Tua Tagovailoa got put in the second half of that national championship game against Georgia and lit it up and was very efficient and threw, I think, 2 touchdowns. It was either 2 or 3 touchdowns. I think he threw 2 in the second half, and Jalen Hurts had like 50 passing yards or something like that in the first half. People were talking the entire offseason about, was Jalen Hurts going to transfer? Could he play running back? Is he just going to sit behind Tua, since Tua may be able to go pro next year? Who knows? That was been the talk the entire offseason, and Nick Saban had just pretty much dodged it, like, both guys look good. We're going to evaluate both guys. We're going to keep doing it. And he was, how Nick Saban is. He gets mad at the reporters and all that stuff in the media, and it really showed after the game when he kind of snapped at that reporter. It's kind of a meme now, but that's neither here nor there. To me, the Alabama quarterback controversy looks like it got put to bed on Saturday night. Tua Tagovailoa absolutely killed Louisville. He was going off. He was making crazy plays left and right. He had a pretty good stat line, 12 for 16 with almost 230 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he had this crazy play.
Allows those receivers to do that, and then the athletic ability to show you he can run too. It's not just Jalen Hurts.
Tight end Smith motions in. Tua's got it. Spins away, throws to the end zone. A risky throw, caught for a touchdown. There are some flags in late. It was Judy on the receiving end. They may have roughed the quarterback, but Tagovailoa has taken the tie to the end zone, off and rolling in 7 plays. He is still down, though.
Now, that's crazier play than, I've ever seen. That's just obvious. That's absolutely insane. Like, I'm at a loss for words. I'm stuttering all over myself. But he, ran around in the pocket, got tied up at the ankles, just launched the ball in the air at Jerry Jeudy in the back of the end zone, almost a blind throw, and it just looked absolutely crazy. Jalen Hurts didn't look bad either, but to me, Tua just adds an element to that offense that Jalen doesn't have. Jalen's got the legs, and he can make plays with his feet and stuff like that, but Tua is just way more efficient throwing the ball. We saw that in the SEC, not in the SEC championship game. We saw that in the national championship game, and we saw it against Louisville, who is no slouch on defense. They did lose Jair Alexander. They didn't have him, and he was kind of their biggest playmaker on the defense side of the ball. But, Tua Tagovailoa should be Alabama's starter the rest of the season, and I don't think that's going to change unless he gets hurt or something like that, which, I hope doesn't happen, because, injuries can ruin careers and stuff like that. Sticking in the SEC, we're going to be talking about the LSU versus Miami. It was a game that not a lot of people had on their radar. A lot of people were more concerned about the Alabama game, the Michigan Notre Dame game. There was a lot of people looking at the Auburn and Washington game, but because a lot of people thought that Miami was just going to wax LSU, because LSU didn't play very well last season. They had a lot of good individual success, but not a lot of team success. But LSU came out there, and honestly, they shocked a lot of people, and they even shocked me a little bit. I do have faith in LSU. Every year I know that their defense is going to be good and their defense is going to keep them in games, but their offense is really what stole the show last night for me. Like I said, their defense always looks good. They've got 2 NFL guys on their team, or at least like high-round NFL guys, with Derek White and Greedy Williams, who played good that entire game. But like I said, the offense took the cake for me. They just looked absolutely amazing. They have a transfer quarterback, Joey Burrow from Ohio State. Dwayne Haskins got the starting job at Ohio State in the spring, and Tate Martell was getting looks at the number 1 spot too, and Joey Burrow wasn't really necessarily getting a lot of love, so he said, all right, deuces, I'm out. And he toured all across the country, but not toured, like took visits all across the country, took his official to LSU, and then said, you know what, this is someplace that I really want to be. And he looked like the quarterback that LSU has needed over the past 4 or 5 years, but they never really had. He's not necessarily the best arm. He's not going to throw like a Dwayne Haskins. He's not going to run like a Jalen Hurts or a Lamar Jackson or anybody like that, but he's a very good game manager. There was a lot of plays in that game where he checked out of a pass or he flipped a run play because he saw something from that Miami defense, and that's something that they've needed. It's really going to help expand their offense because pretty much they were one-dimensional with Darius Guice last year and with Leonard Fournette in years past, but now I think they're really going to be able to open up their offense, and they could make a run at a playoff, but right now they're ranked 22, but I think they climbed all the way up to number 12 with the AP polls being released today. All right, the last thing I want to talk to you guys about for this video is the Michigan-Notre Dame game. Michigan walked in 2 spots behind Notre Dame in the national ranking, obviously being at 14 and Notre Dame being at 12, which I thought was a little high. I thought Jordan Adams really carried them last season, and so did the left side of their offensive line. They were absolutely insane. Quentin Nelson and Mike McGlinchey both were like top 10 picks in the NFL draft, so I thought losing both of those guys might have caused, you know, a decrease in ranking. I thought they would have been around low teens, probably like 17 or 18, but they came in number 12, and they proved me that they belonged in that spot and probably even higher. They're at number 8 right now after the AP poll was released today. But just talking about that, Michigan's defense looked absolutely terrible in the first half. There was a lot of good individual play from guys like Chase Winovich, Rashawn Gary, Devin Bush. Those guys played really good. Josh Metellus kind of killed the Michigan defense, going out with a targeting early in the game, and then David Wimbush kind of picked on that right after he got ejected. He took some deep shots at a freshman. No, I think the guy that they put in there at first, he's like a graduate. He's like a 5th-year senior, or he's a senior. I know he's an older guy, but they put him in. He didn't have a lot of playing experience. They took some shots at him, scored early on a rushing touchdown, and then on some absolute bomb Hail Mary thing that David Wimbush just threw up and said, go get it. The second half was a little different though. Michigan's defense played pretty good. At least the front 7 played pretty good throughout the entire game. They contained Wimbush fairly well. I felt like they could have done a better job at that. On the offensive side of the ball for Michigan, they were absolutely terrible. The O-line was just getting absolutely abused by Notre Dame's front 7, so they couldn't really get the running game going. Karan Higdon had like 77 yards and a touchdown. Shea Patterson didn't really have a lot of time to throw the football, and that caused a couple interceptions. The game was close late because we drove down the field and scored a touchdown. I say we. I'm a Michigan fan, if you guys don't know already, but Michigan drove down the field, scored late, and then tried to get the ball back. They did get the ball back, but there was like a minute left on the clock, and they had no timeouts, so you can't do a lot with the football when you're down by 7 or 8 points or however much it was, and you're at your own 30-yard line with like 50 seconds left and there's no timeout. So the score was closer than the game really was. Notre Dame dominated the first half and then even scored in the second half too, but Michigan came back to rally late. You know, they put up a score, but the game was effectively over at that point when you have no timeouts and you've got, 45 seconds to drive the ball the length of the field. So that's all I want to talk about for week 1, guys. Let me know what else you saw from other college football games down in the comment section below. And yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. This has been XLT signing out.